Kamala Harris, you are as fake as press-on nails, and I can see right through you. Let me help you out with something, because maybe somebody must not have told you. On TV and on every interview, giving the same tired answer. So let me just help you out. When you are asked a question, why don't you try answering the question? People are not stupid. We can tell when you're dancing around the issue instead of answering the question. When you're asked, are people better off now or during Donald Trump's presidency? When you're asked about the border or your policies on immigration, answer the question. We don't care about your middle class upbringing. We don't care that your mama had to save up to buy a house. We don't care about your summer job at McDonald's. We don't care about the lawns of the neighborhood that you lived in and how everybody took care of their lawn. That does not matter to me, and it doesn't matter to anybody else. I want you to answer the question. Because if people, my mind is already made up too, Kamala, because I can see right through you and I know that you fake. But for somebody else whose mind is not made up, let me just help you out. Answer the question so that they can decide between you and your opponent. I don't know if you're just trying to paint him as the villain and try to skate by to be like you the hero or a nice person. We don't care about that. Because being a hero and voting for the nice person is not what pays the bills. You understand what I'm saying? We can see through you. And that fake black accent that you keep doing, girl, you need to stop. Because you know good and well that you ain't got no black accent. You know good and well that you was born in from San Francisco and in Canada. Where you get that black accent from? Stop doing that trying to be relatable. This does not make you relatable. It makes you look fake. And those of us like me, we can see through that. We can see through that. We can see through every interview that you do that instead of answering the questions that are on the minds of the millions of American people who have the power to elect you to the highest office in the land, you're dancing around the issue and you want to talk about how you was born a middle-class kid and how your mother had to save up to buy a house. I don't care, Kamala. So just to recap, stop dancing around the issue. Answer the question. If you're going to do an interview, answer a question that you are asked at the interview.
All right, guys, so we got to react to this MSNBC segment featuring Jonathan Capehart, a.k.a. Jonathan Sweetheart, okay? That's why I like to call this guy. Because Mr. Sweetheart here, Sweet Cheeks, he's going to get triggered by this clip here of Trump basically telling the truth about how Oprah really feels about Kamala Harris, right? Everybody saw when Oprah was hosting the town hall with Kamala Harris, I believe it was in Michigan, Oprah had to cut off Kamala Harris when she was going into word salad mode, right? Everybody saw that Oprah was trying to save Kamala Harris from herself, okay? And Jonathan Capehart is going to get upset with Trump for basically expressing his opinion on the town hall between Oprah and Kamala Harris. And he's going to get checked by this Republican woman, Miss Whitley Yates. I think I've talked about her once before on my channel. And she's going to give a pretty good response to this meltdown here from Jonathan Sweetheart. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and roll the clip of Trump talking about Kamala and Oprah in full, and then we're going to get into this clip.
I don't want to be rude. She's not competent to be president. Did you see her on Oprah? That's not going to be president. Oprah didn't know what the hell to do. Oprah was like embarrassed. She wanted to hide under the table, but she's a professional and she was able to sort of disguise it. No, she wanted to go right under the table. Vote Trump and we will bring back the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Kamala can't be trusted with your economy or anything else. She's just, I mean, how this happened. Explain it to me, please. How did this happen? And we all saw what happened, and we see what happened. Kamala was a total disaster yesterday, and at every other interview, she's been just a free fall. I don't know what the hell's going on. She can't do an interview. She doesn't want to do them. Something's wrong.
And this is sound of Donald Trump at his rally in North Carolina today without Mark Robinson. Mm-hmm. And what he had to say about Oprah?
Did you see her on Oprah? That's not going to be president. Oprah didn't know what the hell to do. Oprah was like embarrassed. She wanted to hide under the table, but She's a professional, and she was able to sort of disguise it. No, she wanted to go right under the table.
Whitley, why does Donald Trump lie like that? I mean, everybody knows. Come on.
I think that
Well, I mean, it's not really a lie. It's really a matter of his opinion, right? It's so funny how these people want to fact check Trump on things that really aren't a matter of like fact, right? It's a matter of, okay, his opinion is that Oprah was embarrassed, right? I think she was embarrassed too, okay? That's just my interpretation of that interaction, right? I think she was trying to help Kamala throughout the interview. I think that Oprah, in her mind, knew that, okay, Kamala's not all that intelligent. We got to make sure that she actually at least attempts to answer the questions. It's a matter of opinion, man. Everything that comes out of Trump's mouth is not a lie, despite what these people claim, right? But again, this is where we're at this point, right? Where they're straight up fact checking things that are a matter of opinion.
there were times during that interview where it looked like Oprah was trying to figure out where VP Harris was going. And I think when we're looking at this circumspectly, when we're talking about battleground states and talking to working everyday Americans, utilizing a billionaire who's not dealing with the cost of inflation, with stagnant wages, with stagnant industries is really just out of touch. And I think that's what he really meant to say, is that hiding behind Hollywood as opposed to really just talking about the policies of your administration may not be working specifically in battleground states.
That facts, and that's what they really don't want to address. That's what they really don't want to talk about. Because while the Democrats pretend as if they are the party of the people and the working class, that's not really what it looks like, okay? Because it seems to me that they're the party of Hollywood, right? They're the party of billionaires. They're the party of the East Coast elites. And basically, you're a racist. You're a bigot, okay? If you disagree with any of these people, they're not in touch with the economy. They're not in touch with what everyday, regular, normal people are dealing with. Again, this is why they're voting for Kamala Harris, because her policies really don't negatively affect her like that, right? And this is why you're seeing groups like, for example, unions come out in support of Trump. At least the members are in support of Trump. Again, the elites within the unions aren't, which in my opinion, I find to be fascinating how unions are supposed to be about the people, but yet you have the people supporting Trump, but the union bosses say, no, we can't officially endorse Trump, right? Despite the members saying that we endorse Trump, which in my opinion kind of tells you everything you need to know about unions, right? I mean, but anyways, this is why a lot of these union workers are in support of Trump.
Look, let me be clear about this. A great majority of our members will not vote for President Biden. Yes, some will. But that's the reality of this. The majority of our members are going to vote their paychecks. They're going to vote for an economy that works for them.
I can tell you on my end, the steamfitters have voted in the poll. We have a 70% return in favor of President Trump.
Why?
Well, everything that's gone on the last 4 years, an open border, inflation, gas prices, oil, mortgage rates. I mean, I can go on and on. The immigrants just getting into neighborhoods like the neighborhood I grew up in, which I mentioned last night. I have a daughter down there. She's afraid to walk around. And this is a neighborhood I grew up in. These are where people worked hard all their life to buy a house in a nice neighborhood, and now it's destroyed by illegal immigrants. And like I said last night, too, to David Muir and Lindsey Davis, those two hacks from the moderators from the debate, they don't have to go to Springfield, Ohio to look at mutilated animals. They could go to right in Queens in a federal park, and you'll see them all over the beach. It's disgusting. It's bringing the property value down. It's just ridiculous.
Is literally rich, Whitley.
Thank you. I mean, it's wealthy. It's wealthy. It's wealthy. It's wealthy.
Rich man. Come on.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about Trump being a wealthy billionaire, because these people bring up Trump being a wealthy billionaire as a way to deflect from criticism of Kamala Harris, pretending as if she's not a part of the elite, right? That is the difference. Trump does not pretend to be somebody that he's not, right? Trump is not going to come out here and tell you that he was middle class and that he grew up poor and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in order to appear to be more relatable. Trump is who he is, and people are voting for him because of his policies. Okay, his policies that we've seen with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that did not just benefit the rich. Okay, it also benefited the middle class and people at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. This is why you had millions of people lifted up out of poverty, getting off of food stamps, right, under the Trump administration, because they had more economic opportunity. And it turns out that when you don't play the communist divide and conquer approach based off class, when you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to implement policies that are good for the poor, that are good for the middle class, that are good for the rich. I'm implementing economic policies that are going to be beneficial to the country as a whole. Turns out everybody benefits, right? Turns out, you know, the country as a whole does well, right? Instead of trying to pretend as if you're against the rich and that you're for the middle class, while at the same time not actually being for the middle class, right? You actually are really just for the rich. Your policies overwhelmingly benefit the rich. In the case of Democrats, it is corporate socialism that overwhelmingly benefits the rich, which is why Kamala Harris is being supported by mostly rich people, rich, elite, upper middle class, whites, right? That is Kamala's core base of supporters, right? Well, why is that? It's because her policies benefit them the most, right? But she pretends as if she's for the little guy and so-called people of color and all these other people. But when you look at the difference between the policies of the Trump administration versus the Biden-Harris administration, the difference is clear, right? In regards to which president was doing better for those at the bottom, right? Like, for example, according to the Fed, under the first 3 years of the Trump administration, the median household net worth of black families went up by 33%. And for Hispanic families, it went up by 65%. But under Scranton Joe, black people and Hispanics and people at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder, they're getting destroyed by inflation, right? They're getting destroyed by the economic policies of Scranton Joe and middle-class Kamala Harris, right? So again, my point is that Trump being a billionaire or being wealthy is irrelevant to whether or not his policies can benefit those at the bottom. And he doesn't pretend to be somebody that he's not. That is the difference. Kamala Harris pretends to be somebody that she's not. And her policies are actually terrible for the working class. Although, again, she pretends to have a working class background, right? That she is working class and that she's just like everyday normal people when she's not. She's just an elitist. Her policies actually benefit the elite more than anybody.
Here, so Oprah is one of the only people who has been able to have an audience of 20 million people for over many, many years. So I mean, she is a professional here and she does have an audience and she knows how to coordinate or how to appeal to wide audiences. The second thing is I'm really tired of all of the surrogates and Donald Trump and the and JD Vance all saying this. That's not what the candidates are saying. That is not what they're doing. They're insulting people personally. They're being mean. They're being really vindictive. They're not sticking to the issues. And if they were sticking to the issues and saying what you think they mean to say, we'd be in a much different race. But they can't control themselves and they just need to be mean and vindictive. And that's not winning them the independent voters.
Again, it's amazing how Democrats are complaining about Trump and JD Vance being mean and vindictive when these are the same people. When Kamala Harris first started to run, they ran around calling Trump and JD Vance weird, right? I mean, for weeks straight, calling Trump and JD Vance weird. And mainstream liberal media was repeating this talking point. But now these same people, the media and the Democrats, want to pretend to boohoo, whine, and cry about Trump and JD Vance saying mean things about them. Again, it's amazing.
Definitely don't need a history lesson on Oprah, who's Black history, because I'm very familiar with all that she has done. But what I'm saying is when you're talking to people specifically in a state where the average salary is $49,000, bringing a billionaire up on stage is going to present out of touch, specifically for working class Americans. And let me explain why. It's because the issue that they're talking about does not impact her the same, as opposed to having working class people maybe engaging with her, maybe a town hall forum. She has been utilizing celebrities to promote her campaign as opposed to utilizing working class people or utilizing them to speak to working class people. And there is a disconnect.
I don't know. I mean, did you watch the town? I mean, it was a town hall. It was a town hall style forum. And Oprah Winfrey is, I mean, she's not a talk show host now or a journalist now, but it was like watching Oprah from the 90s and the 80s.
And also the polls are closing. So clearly she's doing something right because she's meeting people where they are, because she is now leading in the polls and she's closing on issues that were Donald Trump's, like the economy and immigration. So something is working.
But polls are a snapshot in time, and we all know that,
yeah,
right? She was just down in the polls, specifically losing with African-American men, and this doesn't necessarily help her. When you see her utilizing celebrities in this way, when they want policies, they don't want the performance of Hollywood within their political spheres.
I mean, again, if you watched the town hall forum, you heard her talk about policies.
Right. Yeah. You heard her talk about policies. Right. Really? Okay. Well, Kamala Harris is not leading Trump in the polls on the economy or immigration. There was maybe one poll, right, max, maybe two, that showed Kamala Harris slightly leading Trump on those issues. I mean, those are outlier polls, but poll after poll after poll after poll after poll have clearly showed that Trump is winning on the key issues of the economy and immigration. But the point here that Democrats refuse to acknowledge, okay, is that it's not a good look when Kamala's whole campaign is being backed by billionaires and Hollywood celebrities, right? Telling you that everything is good, okay? And if you disagree with Kamala Harris or the Democrats, then you're racist and stuff like that, when everyday normal people are struggling, right? They're struggling. So when you bring a billionaire up here to tell us to vote for the same individuals that are responsible for the struggling of the working class, yeah, that shows some disconnect, right? That you're not actually really connected to the issues and the problems that working class people are facing, because it seems as if the main people that are supporting Kamala Harris seem to be the elite, right? That is the whole point of the conversation and what Miss Whitney Yates was bringing up here, because it's not even like Oprah's like an industrial billionaire, right? She didn't make her money building stuff. She made her money being a celebrity, right? She made her money talking. The difference is that Trump made his money as an industrial billionaire, right? Building things, okay? Actually put a whole lot of people and men, working class people, to work, right? There's a difference, right? There's a huge difference that I think people can kind of see and understand. So, personally, I think that when Kamala Harris is rolling out these billionaires, rolling out these Hollywood celebrities, what they're showing is that the Democrat Party has become the party of the rich. Right? I mean, specifically the liberal elite, right? That is what the Democrat Party has become. And this is why you're seeing traditionally Democrat-leaning coalitions now support Trump, because the Democrat Party has left them behind, right? They've been abandoned by the Democrats. The Democrats have ditched them and said, no, you guys are racist, okay, because you don't like illegal immigration. And now we're on the side of Hollywood and the billionaires. And I think that this is something that the American people can obviously see, which again is why Kamala Harris is losing some of these people, specifically, again, that are working class, middle class, that are at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. The reason why is because the policies of the Democrat Party have been terrible, have been a disaster for those people. And rolling out these rich billionaires to tell people otherwise, right, to tell them that their reality is not real, is not a good look. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.